Now, if all of your operating costs are being covered by Uncle Sam, that's not really Uncle Sam's money, it's your money. But it's your money you can't keep your hands on any other way. It's going to go to Washington otherwise. So you may as well think of it as Uncle Sam's money. If Uncle Sam's being paid to run your business, what's all the money that comes in from the company? The commissions and bonuses, what's that mean? It's called profit. You see, with a small business, when money comes into a small business, there's only two places to put it. First, you put it in the bills bucket until you got enough to pay the bill. Then it goes in the profit bucket. Your bills are being paid by Uncle Sam, so every penny you make in this business is profit. Is that cool? Mm-hmm. Now, what are the tax breaks? Well, Congress passed, in order to make this happen, they passed a number of, like over 100 different tax deductions. They're still passing more and more tax breaks for home business owners. But it's my analysis, you only have to understand 6 of them. If you understand the top 6, that's enough to put an extra $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000, $6,000 or more in your pocket every single year. For most people, the average is around $4,000 to $5,000. And by average, I'm not talking about superstars. I'm talking about somebody that's making what the Bureau of Labor Statistics says is the average American household income. The household income is around $50,000. Individual income is between $35,000 and $45,000. So that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about those who make megabucks. The average person in this business can now put that extra average of $100 a week cash in their pocket. By understanding the top 6 tax deductions, what are they? Let's run through the top 6. And it's the first one. What happened there? I bumped the button. You don't want that. Stay there. The first one I want to mention is the home office deduction because it's the one that's the most misunderstood. A great philosopher called Will Rogers once said, "It ain't what people know that bothers me, it's what they know that ain't so." Well, most people think they know all about home office deductions and they're risky and they'll increase your chance of an audit and all that kind of stuff. But guess what? It ain't so. 7 years ago, Congress fixed all the problems with the home office deduction, and most tax preparers and tax advisors still don't even know that. But it's now not only one of the safest deductions to claim, but it's imperative you claim it if you want to get the maximum deduction, as I'll explain in a minute. Now, first of all, what's the home office deduction? What's it for? It's a deduction you get for having a portion of your home used exclusively for business. The short term for that is home office, but it can be multiple areas of your home. Any areas that are used exclusively for business. Now, by exclusive, they mean exclusive. The IRS has no sense of humor when it comes to exclusive. They think of exclusive as pregnant. You is or you ain't. There's no in between. So exclusive means you do nothing but business in this area. So let's say you have say a 1,000 square foot home and you use 200 square feet of it exclusively for business. You have a 20% BUP, business use percentage. Under that scenario, you can write off 20%. If you're a renter, you can write off 20% of your rent as a business expense. Whether you're renting or buying a home, either one, you can write off 20% of all your utilities, gas, electric, water, sewer, trash collection, recycling fees, all those kinds of things. 20% of all repairs, 20% of all maintenance, 20% of your insurance, your homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance. All those things are 20% deductible if 20% of your home is used for business. Now that's a deduction, that's a business deduction. So what that means is your money you're already spending goes a lot further. You don't have to earn $1,000 to pay $1,000 rent. You only have to, actually to pay $1,000 of rent right now, you've got to go to your W-2 job and earn about $1,700 to bring home $1,000 to pay your rent. But your money goes a lot further if you're going to be able to write off a portion of that as a business expense, tax deductible business expense. The other thing a home office does for you is it lets you establish your home as a principal place of business. Why that's important is because the second deduction I want to mention is business use of your cars, your personal automobiles. Anytime you use your car for business purposes, you've got a tax write-off of 55.5 cents. Now most people, a lot of people in network marketing don't take advantage of this deduction because they say the record keeping is too hard and it's too small anyway. Let's talk about small. All right, 55 cents a mile. That's not a lot of money. 2/4 of a nickel in the palm of your hand, that's not much money. But times how many miles? AAA says the average American will put about 10 to 12,000 miles on their car this year. If 80% of your miles are business miles, and you'll understand how that very well can be in just a minute, if 80% of your miles are business miles, you've got somewhere around, let's say, 10,000 business miles, times 55.5 cents a mile, that's more than $5,500 in tax deductions. That alone, that deduction itself will put about $1,500 extra take-home pay in your check each year. That's $1,500 worth of additional tax refunds. So it's a big deduction. It's the record keeping is not difficult. In fact, it's the IRS has actually made us an offer that even the Godfather could refuse. They said if you'll keep meticulous records for just 90 days, 90 consecutive days, that's a fourth of the year roughly. If you'll keep meticulous records of use of your vehicle for 90 consecutive days, we'll accept that as a snapshot of your driving patterns for the entire year and let you write off all of your driving for the entire year based on that 90-day snapshot. So let's say you drive 4,000 miles in that 90 days, that's 3,000 business miles. 3,000 business miles in 90 days is a fourth of the year. So 3,000 times 4 is 12,000 miles. You've now got 12,000 business miles at 55.5 cents a mile without any record keeping at all required the other 9 months. Now how hard can that be? And all you've got to do for those 90 days is record four things. Each time you start your ignition, you're going to write down today's date, destination, primary purpose, and miles traveled. So what day is it? Where am I going? Why am I going there? How far am I driving? Write that down every time you start your ignition. Do that for 90 days. That's every time you start your ignition. Even if you're going to church or going to Hooters, you're going to write it down, right? That's simply because the IRS has to have a right to the ability to check your math, that's all. But when you're recording miles that are not for tax deduction purposes, you don't need to be specific about where you're going. You can write down P for personal. You do need to log the trip in, but you can write down P for personal as far as destination and primary purpose. But let's go back to having a home office. Once you establish a home office, your home is a principal place of business. There's a little known section of the tax code called the two business location rule, which says travel between two business locations is deductible as business mileage. Think about your commute. When you leave your home in the morning to go to your W-2 job, that's a commute. Commute's not tax deductible, right? But what if you don't leave your home? What if you're leaving your principal place of business instead to go to another place of business called your W-2 job? Then when you come back to that address, you're not coming back home, you're coming back to your W-2, you're coming back to your home-based business. All it takes is getting up a little bit early in the morning and working your home-based business from your home office before you walk out the door, so now you're not leaving your home. If you leave from the kitchen after breakfast, you start a commute, non-deductible. But if you walk out of your home office and go out the front door to get in your car to go to your W-2 job, now you started, instead of a commute, it falls under two business location rules. You see how this can be worth a lot of money. But you have to have a home office to do it. And the third deduction, let me see what I'm doing on time. The third deduction that I want to mention is hiring your kids. I love this. I could talk for an hour on this alone. There's so many benefits for it. Hiring your kids in your home-based business. Why would you want to hire your kids? If you've got a child you're paying $10 a week allowance to, for example, you've got to go to your W-2 job and earn about $16 to $18 in wages to bring home $10 to pay their allowance. What if you came home on allowance day and they'd done $10 worth of work in your home-based business as a part-time employee for you? Now the money you paid them as wages is not allowance. Wages are tax deductible for you, right? How old does a child need to be? Child labor laws were established in this country that says that for the most part, kids have to be 16 to go to work, like McDonald's or whatever, right? And 18 to go to work in other higher risk areas. The purpose of child labor laws is to ensure the child is working in a safe working environment. The courts have ruled that a child working for their own parents or grandparents in a home-based business is presumed to be working in a safe work environment, and therefore child labor laws are suspended. How old does a child need to be, or how young can a child be? There's a tax court case where a woman had hired 3 of her kids, the youngest one was 7, and the auditor disallowed it, so she took it to tax court, and this is a precedent-setting tax court ruling. What's significant about that is that means that an auditor can't disagree with it. The judge said that, remember the youngest child was 7. The judge said, surely any child over the age of 6 can perform viable work in a parent's home-based business. Now, if the youngest child had been 5, you might have said any child over the age of 4. We don't know. What we do